New questions tonight about illicit cannabis shops. It's taken years for New York State to legalize marijuana, figure out the licensing, supply chain, finally open up dispensaries. But some business owners are asking why the state didn't use some of that time to shut down stores that have been operating illegally before rolling out the licensed ones. It would have helped with customer confusion of where you can shop without breaking the rules, and also help with businesses that are trying to follow the rules. Joe Schaefer joins us now live. He is a cannabis team member at Lippis Mathias, a law firm here in Buffalo. Appreciate you coming in. I know that you are intimately involved with this as helping the businesses that are starting here. So last week we talked about this. There is some indication that the budget may include some tougher enforcement mechanisms so they can go down and shut down these places that are operating illegally. But not necessarily just Western New York. There's a lot of reporting in New York City of just all of these shops that are selling this stuff illegally, and nobody's doing anything about it.
Right. Yeah, Michael, I hope that a year from now, maybe even 3 months from now, we're not talking about the gray market as much as we have, especially on this segment in this program. The gray market has run rampant. I mean, it's in Buffalo here and elsewhere. I mean, I think the joke in New York City is there's 5 gray market shops on every single corner. And what the state really needs to do, and obviously there are measures that they're discussing, is how do we get this completely out of the equation and really run the operation that we meant to when the MRTA was passed 2 years ago.
Yeah, and we talked about this, you will not have a legal system that actually works until you figure this out, right? Because it's expensive to go through all the processes that are in place to get licensed, to have the security, to do the, deal with your banking and all this stuff. And if someone else can just operate illegally, there will be no legal market.
Right. I think the incentives, and there's been frustration felt from folks that we talk to on a day-to-day basis. Hey, why do I have to talk to you? Why do I have to talk to my accountant? Why do I have to talk to my security provider? If folks are just, they file an LLC with the state and then they can open up the next day with little to no real enforcement. I think that's the issue. And while we are seeing some enforcement mechanisms taking place, it's really just product seizures. They're going into these shops and state regulators are taking product away. But then the issue is, well, what happens? 2 days later, 3 days later, they're open back because supply has been replenished and the fines are minimal.
Yeah, we were talking about those fines. And a lot of these places are LLCs as well, right? So if there's nothing for you to go after and actually fine, I mean, it doesn't seem like they're recouping much of that money that they're fining them to begin with.
And I think that's the issue. The reason why the gray market has become so substantial is because, all right, well, if there is a small fine, we're making so much more money than that anyways. Even if we do lose a little bit of product or get a small fine, we're making double, triple, 10 times that and even more.
So when you talk about the enforcement mechanisms, as someone who is just, watching this all very closely, what are some of the ideas that you've heard about or things that they should be doing to shut down the places that are operating illegally?
Sure. So it initially started with state regulators sending cease and desist letters, which said, hey, stop or else you're not going to get a license. Well, 2 years later, with only the conditional market rolled out, that wasn't as much of a threat as I think it didn't have as much teeth as we thought it would. So, we're starting to see, I know that Governor Hochul is working on potential legislation with the state legislature to make fines being up to $200,000, $10,000 a day fine for each day that a sticker shop is open or a gray market operator. As we discussed before this, there might be potential mechanisms by which landlords get in trouble. So it's not just the operator, but it's the person renting to the sticker shop operator, locking folks out of their building. Now, there's a lot that goes into that, right? But there are creative measures, and it's really just how can we give this more teeth so it can end and we can have a proliferation of legal market products.
Yeah, I've only got about 30 seconds left, but while I have you here, that issue aside, we are still moving forward with the legalization part of this, right? I mean, what are you hearing from your clients and where things stand right now here locally?
Yeah, momentum has been gaining, right? We have 4 dispensary licensees who have been given their licenses. They're working on getting their shops opened up. I expect to have, significantly more, I think more than 4 in the next, I think it's the May Cannabis Control Board meeting. We're hoping that a lot of Western New York applicants, that'll fill out the supply chain. And then we have our non-conditional or our permanent licensing application should come on by the end of the year, hopefully after Labor Day.
The permanent ones are people who didn't fall into that special category of being able to do it early.
Correct. And general population applications.
Yeah, got it. All right, Joe Schaefer, cannabis team member at Lippis Mathias. You're like an accountant right before tax season. I know it's your busy time, so thanks for coming in.
Thanks a lot, Michael.
Appreciate it.